Ego. Where does ego come from? Why do we have an ego? And is it okay to have an ego? Like, bro, I thought you've been taking mushrooms for the last year and a half. Aren't you supposed to not have an ego anymore? In today's video, we're going to discuss ego and everything that I believe we can discuss about ego. Let's get into it.
Hold up.
I am the Hungarian experiment.
What is going on, world? I am the Hungarian experiment. And as I mentioned there, in this video, we're going to talk about ego. What is the ego and where did it even come from? Recently, I've had someone continually popping into my YouTube comments on some live streams and saying, man, you've been doing mushrooms for a year and a half so far. Like, how are you still making YouTube videos? You're very egotistical. Now, in general, I don't believe that you should be using mushrooms to try to get rid of your ego. And in general, as a human being, I don't believe you can ever get rid of your ego. And in this video, we're going to discuss why. So, what is ego and where does the ego even come from? Now, if the theory of evolution is the most concrete thing that we have to go with, and what I believe is that, we evolved from apes, we evolved from our ancient ancestors out there. Now, if we look back at that period of time before we became human beings, and we were animals, did we have an ego back then? Well, if we look at other animals, do they have an ego? So what is an ego then? Where does ego come from? So I believe ego is our ability to look at ourselves, and that's the thing that most animals don't have. Most animals have this animalistic instinctual drive within them. They have a drive to need to eat, to need to sleep. They also have a natural drive to take care of their kin. We can see it in different animals. They have these different instinctual drives. Some animals have an instinctual drive to hibernate. Birds have this instinctual drive to flock across the planet to different areas and then come back. This is this instinctual drive within them. And I believe we as humans have these animalistic instinctual drives within us as well. And why? Well, we evolved from animals. So we still have this natural drive to eat, to sleep, to fuck, to take care of people that we truly want, love, and appreciate in our lives. So then what is ego and where did it come from? Well, again, I believe ego is that ability to look at yourself, to see yourself and want bigger things for yourself in life. And again, I don't believe you can ever get rid of that. But I believe ego is like a spectrum. You can either be very egotistical and think all these crazy big things about yourself and be like, this is who I am, this is what I am, this is who I have to be. Or you can dissolve a lot of these different aspects. And again, what I think is that a lot of people have limiting beliefs about themselves, and that is their ego speaking to them. There are people out there in the world who think, oh, I can't go more than 24 hours without food, or, oh, I can't run up that hill, or, oh, I can't do 100 squats, and the list goes on and on. Now, I believe psychedelics, I believe mushrooms can help dissolve a lot of those limiting beliefs you have about yourself, but also just pushing yourself through your limiting beliefs can help dissolve your ego in many different ways. Again, the ego is yourself looking at yourself. It's this delayed gratification. It's this ability to go beyond our animalistic instinctual drives. It's our ability to say, you know what, I'm not just gonna fuck this person right now or have, rape this person. It's that ability to be like, that's a bad thing. I shouldn't do that because, well, society has told us that if you do this, you're gonna be punished for it. But also the ability to see that, oh man, I wouldn't want that done to myself. It's also that ability to say, man, I want to lose 10 to 20 pounds. So I have to look at myself and I have to consider, how do I do that? And I have to limit my food intake, my caloric intake for a few days, or increase my physical activity to reach this goal. To achieve this goal over here, we have to delay gratification. We have to see time. And time, I believe, is that big thing that allowed us to have ego in the first place. Now, I got this whole concept from this amazing book called Sex, Time, and Power by Leonard Shlain. It's how women's sexuality shaped human evolution. And if you guys are questioning these concepts about ego, and you have these very deep thoughts, similar to like what we're discussing here, I really suggest you pick this book up because it explains, or at least breaks down the theory, because we don't know 100%, we just can't know. But this is the best theory that I've ever heard on how we develop this ability to perceive time and to how we develop this ego in the first place. Basically, how we left our animalistic ancestors and had only lived by our animalistic instinctual drives, and we learned to delay gratification. We developed an ego through the ability to perceive time. Now, I'll give a little quick synopsis here, but again, it's a decent sized book. I really suggest checking it out. But what Leonard Shlain believes, and he's a neuroscientist, but he believes is that women actually developed the ability to perceive time because women had this natural ability. Their menstrual cycles were synced up with the moon, or they realized that their menstrual cycles came in cycles. And what would happen as well too is that when they would conceive and have a child, that their menstrual cycles would stop, and after a certain period of time, when their menstrual cycles would stop, that they would then have a baby. Now, this took many generations, and again, I'm not doing any kind of due diligence to this theory here. Go check out this book. But this is what he believes is what allowed us to develop the ego, to develop the ability to perceive time. And inevitably, this is what separates us from the animals. I love asking this question because I ask people all the time. I ask them, what is it that truly separates us from the animals? And I get these weird answers all the time, and I really like hearing what people think because, again, this is the theory that I believe, and I haven't heard anyone be able to justify a better theory out there in the world. But the thing that I believe that separates us from the animals, that separates us from these things that only have these instinctual drives that they go by, is the ability to perceive time. Now, as a human being, you're never going to get rid of that. If you guys follow along my journey as the Hungarian Experiment, you know that I'm a video editor. I create content for myself as well as Matt McKeever's YouTube channel. So I'm regularly stuck in time. I'm recording something and trying to think about how humans are going to see this in the future. And I'm also, when I'm editing these videos, I'm considering, okay, this is how these people are going to see it. This is the most optimal way to present this side of the story. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm taking little short pauses and breaks in between this because I'm heavily in my ego right now. I'm trying to think, okay, how is someone else going to see this? So this is where I was trying to pose this question to this person that keeps asking this, is that, oh man, you've been doing, mushrooms for 1.5 years now. Like, you shouldn't have an ego anymore, but everything you do on your channel and everything you document is ego. Well, in general, I also believe too that as you begin to shed your ego or dissolve these limiting beliefs of yourself, you're never going to 100% truly let go of your ego because we have this ability now to perceive time. We're always considering what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen in the past. Now, one of the best things that I believe, and another great book, I don't have it here on my table right now, but it's on my bookshelf, is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He believes the ego is the biggest disease in the world right now, and this is the thing that's plaguing the planet. It's people's ego. They're driven by their ego. They want more and more, and they want this and they want that, and they're willing to sacrifice other people. They're willing to take advantage of other people in order to succumb to their ego and get those things that they want. Now, in general, I believe that, again, you can't 100% shed your ego. You're always going to have your ego there, but you can dissolve these limiting beliefs about yourself. But once you get to a certain place in life, and again, I'm not saying I'm special or powerful or I don't have an ego, but you have to consider that in general, no matter what you do, you're always going to have this thing. So the best thing that you can do is be aware of it, is see it, is listen to your thoughts and try to step back and be aware of your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts control and dominate you, because your thoughts are dominated by your ego and it's saying, oh, Peter, you need to do this. Oh man, you need to go do that. And then you step back and be like, okay, but is this for me or is this for others? What are these thoughts telling me to do? And am I gonna take action on these thoughts? And I think most people are controlled and dominated by that. I'm not saying I'm not, but there's definitely aspects of my life where I heavily question when this is happening and why this is happening to me. And I always take a step back and I try to see, are these actions that I'm going to take on these thoughts providing value to others? Or is it only providing value to me? Now, I believe in kind of like the airplane situation where you need to save yourself first before you can save others. And I think if you're not optimizing yourself as a human being, you can't truly help others. If you're not at the top of your mental and physical game, you could be providing so much more value to other people out there in the world. So, many of the things that I document here on my YouTube channel is me sharing how I'm implementing these aspects of optimization into my own life, because I'm trying to optimize myself as much as I can. I want my brain and I want my body functioning at its best abilities. So when I take action on certain things, that I'm able to provide as much value as I can to others. And the times where I'm trying to provide value to myself, I'm still getting the most that I can. So what is the ego? Well, the ego is this ability to see ourselves and to see where we want to be in the future and what happened in the past and how to do things differently. Where did the ego come from? The ego came from the ability to perceive time as we were evolving from our ancient ancestors, these humanoids that were dominated by their animalistic instinctual drives. We developed this ability to perceive time. And this ability to perceive time created the ego. And it created a lot of hardships in the world. But I also believe it created a lot of great things, because without the ego, we would not be talking right now. Or you would not be watching a video with me and sharing this concept and me trying to provide value to you. So many things that I've got for myself, that I've used to optimize myself, is from gaining value from others, from other people who did this exact stuff. And beyond just YouTube, so many books that I've read. Leonard Shlain. Was Leonard Shlain egotistical for writing this book to try to provide value for others? Was Leonardo da Vinci egotistical for all the things that he did? Maybe there were egotistical aspects within the actions and within the thoughts he was taking, but that's inevitably there as a human being. And honestly, for myself, that's what I always question when I'm taking action on my thoughts. Is this providing value to me and optimizing myself as a human being, or is this providing value to others? So I hope that answers the question and kind of provides as much value as I can in regards to ego. I'm not no special human being out here. I am dominated by my ego just as much as you are. And anyone who tries to deny that they're dominated by their ego is lying. Or they're lost in their own head. It's just as much of someone trying to deny that they want power in the world. If someone denies that they want power, you cannot trust that person, because power is a law of nature. It's something that we as human beings crave and want in different facets and different areas of life, because we have this ego there. So I truly believe that, someone trying to deny or call someone out on their ego is just as egotistical. But I also believe, what more do you expect from them? Because they are just a human being. You can't expect less from a human being besides ego and besides animalistic instinctual drives. Now, I believe we can conquer these animalistic instinctual drives within us and try to allow our ego to only provide value to others and try to optimize ourselves. Or you can just be dominated by your ego. You can have all these limiting beliefs about yourself or think extremely highly of yourself. But I honestly believe that makes you more animal than more human. And again, it's like a spectrum. You're not just going to completely 100% dissolve your ego, or else what would you be? If you had no ego, what would you do as a human being? If you couldn't see time, if you didn't have this ability to perceive time and be able to look at yourself, and you couldn't look at the future and say, I need to do this differently, or I need to do that, you would only take action on your animalistic instinctual drives. You would only eat when you were hungry. You would only fuck when you wanted to fuck. You would only sleep when you needed to sleep. There would be nothing else there as a human being. Now, for the person who keeps popping into the chat here and questioning my ego in regards to why I'm documenting my life, why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and oh man, after a year and a half, your ego's bigger than it has ever been before. I had a lot of theories and ideas going back 5 to 10 years ago, before I started my YouTube channel. These concepts of human experiments in the world. These concepts that our scientific system is weak. There's holes in our system, and we need to fix this if we want to provide more value to human beings in the world. If we don't want to be limited by our scientific standards, we need to change this thing. And I truly believe, after all the years of research that I've done, after diving into hundreds of books now, hundreds of great minds from the past, and reading the concepts and gaining their knowledge and applying it in my own life and trying to live it as much as I can, and trying to be as present as possible, and just looking at my thoughts instead of being dominated by my thoughts and taking action on things unless it truly optimized me or provided value to others, that I need to do this thing. Or else, there's nothing here for me. Or else I just need to be animalistic and take action on these animalistic instinctual drives, because there's nothing else there for me. When I look at my ego and I consider these thoughts that regularly come into myself, I see that I need to prove and I need to live the human experiment lifestyle. And I need to get hundreds to thousands of other people upon a similar lifestyle. And I'm not saying, look, copy me because I'm the best example of the human experiment. I'm one iteration of what I want to see hundreds to thousands of people doing out there in the world, documenting their lives for a purpose. And that purpose is to provide value to others. And then along with providing value to others by documenting their lives, I want to see them get scientifically tested regularly. Test their blood, test their hormones, do brain scans on them, as much scientific testing as we can do. And then we can conclude and add to this weak scientific narrative that we have out there in the world. So that's how I'm driven by my ego. And again, I don't deny that I have an ego, especially after doing mushrooms for a year and a half. I don't deny that I don't have an ego. We all as human beings have an ego. But do you understand that? Or do you think you're better than your ego or yourself? Then you're dominated by it. So, I hope this video helps to answer, what is ego, where did ego come from, how I feel my ego drives me in my life, and what I'm trying to do with my life and my journey, why I document my life, why I'm doing all these things, why maybe when you watch my content, you might think that, oh, look how dominated by his ego he is. Again, I'm just one iteration of what I want to see hundreds to thousands of other people out there doing, because I believe that this will provide a lot of value to society, to the world, to other human beings. Similar to how reading all these books and digesting so much content from other people has provided value to me. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree with the concepts I discussed here in regards to ego? Do you think I'm dominated by my ego? Again, I think we all are, so I don't think it really matters. But in general, I want to know what you guys think in regards to the concepts I discussed here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. And on your way down there, make sure you go smash that like button. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Hungarian Experiment.
I am the Hungarian Experiment.